So we call today Giving Thanks.
I'm ready. I'll follow you guys. Okay.
Okay. We're here today as concerned members of Occupy LA, community activists, union members, union supporters. We're not at all speaking for Occupy LA and not representing ourselves as speaking for Occupy LA. We called this press conference together because of last night's General Assembly. We passed a historic document, a declaration that affects the whole camp. And we wanted to make sure that this was read and announced publicly. And we wanted to also make sure that people understand this affects the supposed negotiations that have been done in the name of Occupy LA, but have not been done with all of Occupy's knowledge or consent. And so I wanted to allow Lucero, my name is Julia Wallace, Julia Wallace, and I wanted to allow Lucero to read the message that was passed last night in regards to transparency.
What I have here is a statement that we put together.
Microphone.
Is it? Okay. So can everybody hear? Okay. So this week, the city announced a proposed relocation.
Come on,
of the
Juan,
Occupy
stop.
LA encampment as a result of secret negotiations with a small group of people who do not represent the political body of Occupy LA. The General Assembly is the only body that speaks for Occupy Los Angeles and can decide collectively how we will negotiate with the city of Los Angeles. Occupy LA demands full representation of all members of the 99% and urge the city of Los Angeles to continue these negotiations with Occupy LA through our General Assembly, which is our collective decision-making body. We, the members of Occupy LA,
we have two factions going on.
we, the members of Occupy LA, are
We
exercising
need
our...
to unify.
We are united.
Transparency.
Yes.
This is so we have political transparency.
We, the members of Occupy LA, are exercising our constitutional right to peacefully assemble and petition our government. Our occupation of LA City Hall has been a peaceful demonstration of the discontent shared by the 99% with the growing wealth inequality, deluge of wrongful home foreclosures, lack of jobs, widespread stagnant of poor pay in the face of growing living costs, and cuts in services like education and public safety that are plaguing us throughout the nation and the world. Thus far, the city and the major government bodies in the U.S. has refused or failed to adequately address these grievances. We urge the city of Los Angeles to attend our General Assembly and be able to negotiate if they still want to, with that body. That's the only body that can really make decisions for Occupy LA, and we encourage them to come to us and continue these discussions so we can come to a consensus on what can be done, and if they still want to pursue a nonviolent approach. We are nonviolent, and that's what we want to say today. That's important.
I have the declaration. I have the declaration here.
Don't forget about the rights of nature.
It's called the Declaration of Inclusive, Peaceful, and Constructive Communication. This was passed by the GA without any hard blocks, and I wanted to make sure that this was read. This is an official statement by the General Assembly.
Yes.
Our Declaration of Inclusive, Peaceful, and Constructive Communication. Our means of communication is inclusive. The nature of our communication is peaceful. The purpose for our communication is constructive. Number one, our means of communication is inclusive. The General Assembly is the body that makes decisions for the Occupy LA movement as a whole. Anyone seeking to learn about these decisions is invited to attend the open General Assembly process of We the People. All individuals or groups involved in Occupy LA are free within their inherent rights to speak and act as they choose. We honor diversity of thought and autonomous action as a point of great strength. We invite all who desire to communicate with Occupy LA movement to come participate in our open General Assembly. With our deliberative and participatory principles is a legitimate and constitutionally recognized proceeding. Those seeking to inform, influence, or negotiate with Occupy LA movement must understand that the dignified way to do this is the open General Assembly process. Number 2, the nature of our communication is peaceful. Every General Assembly begins with a reaffirmation of Occupy LA's shared commitment to nonviolence, a core principle of our movement. The global Occupy movement continues to be spoken to in the language of violence. We assert that no one has the right, especially a public servant, to imply, initiate, or participate in the use of violence or unlawful force in response to an assembly of peaceful people. We recognize, as Martin Luther King Jr. said, quote, "An injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." Though our brothers and sisters around the world continue to be met with violence, we reaffirm our commitment to a language of powerful nonviolence and fierce compassion that understands the urgency of now. 3, the purpose for our communication is constructive. We, the people, have peacefully assembled in public place and seeking a minimum of full redress of our grievances or the government or criminal mistreatment of people and fraudulent abdication of the judiciary responsibilities in large part to the interests of exploitative corporations and weaponized banks. Elements within City Hall and the police, which we know to be fused with Homeland Security, have said that they want to, quote, "help us find an exit strategy." In fact, we, the people, are in process of opening a window of opportunity, i.e. an exit strategy for our public servants who desire a way out of the high corruption that we have allowed our governments to become. This includes public servants acting in good faith under difficult pressures, as well as those deeply disloyal to the spirit of their oaths and to the lives and liberties and general welfare of we the people. Set in stone on the south face of City Hall, these words of Cicero are clear to see. He that violates his oath profanes the divinity of faith itself. Though some of our words may sound confrontational, we are humbled by the words of Martin Luther King Jr. Nonviolent resistance does not seek to humiliate or defeat its opponent, but to win his friendship and understanding. We invite all people everywhere to occupy the ethical depths and creative horizons of their hearts and minds, and to come join their fellow companions of good faith assembled here in the open. Together we can cooperate to peacefully arrest the ongoing corruption and criminality and give ourselves a possibility to reimagine and rebuild our homes, communities, nations, and world. This is a statement that was passed by the General Assembly. This is the only body that speaks for the General Assembly. We'd also like to note that we have been told that the city would like us to leave the line in all intents and purposes. We call on the community at large, working class people, organized labor, those who support the occupation, to join with us and other people who are concerned about the Occupy movement to join with us to defend the occupation in LA and defend all occupations worldwide. We have to fight for ourselves. We have to defend ourselves, and
What
we call
about
on
the notice they're giving us over there?
We're talking about